Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us, particularly all of you who are already Colon Cancer Alliance volunteers. My name is Kevin Bergerson, and I am the Program's Assistant Manager for the Colon Cancer Alliance. And on behalf of the patient navigators and the entire patient support team from the Colon Cancer Alliance, I'd like to welcome you to Tomorrow Can't Wait, Volunteer and Make a Difference in Your Community webinar. This webinar is open to everyone interested in volunteering for the Colon Cancer Alliance, whether you are a blue seasoned volunteering veteran or a leery lurker or a future volunteer looking to give back and make a difference in your community. This webinar will share more about the Colon Cancer Alliance's volunteering and how you can make a difference in your community. This webinar will share more about our volunteer opportunities, and you'll also hear from some of our Rockstar volunteers' past successes. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded and all registrants will receive a link to where you can find that video tomorrow about this time. At this time, it's my privilege to introduce Nancy Butterfield, Associate Director of Patient Support and Outreach for the Colon Cancer Alliance. Nancy, welcome. I'm going to turn it all over to you, and you're up.
Well, thank you, Kevin, and welcome, everyone. Whether you're a seasoned volunteer or checking out our volunteer programs, thanks for being here. I know it's late, and we do appreciate your time. We've adopted the motto, tomorrow can't wait, and when it comes to colon cancer screenings, tomorrow really can't wait. The Colon Cancer Alliance is committed to saving 15,000 lives by the year 2021, and that's why we need your help. Volunteer in your community at local health fairs and conferences, help at a run walk, hold a Dress in Blue Day fundraiser in March to raise awareness about Colon Cancer Awareness Month, give back to someone who is newly diagnosed and needs a buddy to talk to, or become a speaker in our Speakers Bureau. Tell your story and let people know the symptoms and when you should be screened. Your voice can help save a life. Tonight we're going to hear about how you can get involved and do just that, because tomorrow can't wait. First, I'd like to introduce Susie Munoz. She is our bilingual patient navigator and volunteer coordinator, and she's going to explain a little bit more about the volunteer program. Susie?
Thank you, Nancy. Good evening, everyone. In deciding which volunteer opportunities are right for you, please consider how much time you would like to commit, realizing that your time can make a real difference in people's lives. By visiting our website, ccalliance.org, you can further explore our different volunteer opportunities. Once you're ready, you complete the application. Based on the choices of interest, the corresponding departments will reach out to you shortly thereafter. Most respond via email, so please make sure you check your emails, spam, and trash folders. Next slide, please. Volunteers that get vetted are the ones who choose to be buddies, who want to get involved in community events, want to be part of our Speakers Bureau, and who are interested in joining our Medical Advisory Committee. These opportunities ask for more of your time, so the vetting process involves completing the application and overview, a phone conversation with me, and where I get to know you a little bit more about you, which is then followed up with material and a volunteer manual. The vetting process, it's not very, like I said, it's a little bit of time, but for overall, we want to get to know you, your story, so that we can connect you with the right person. Next slide. Non-vetted volunteers are those who want to do a shorter time commitment, such as joining the Undie Run Walk, the Scope It Out 5K, Run Walk, March awareness events, and fundraising. The non-vetted process is similar to the vetting process in which you have to complete the volunteer application and the organization overview. There is no phone conversation, but you will be contacted by the department coordinator. I look forward to getting your applications, all of you out there. And I do want to say that if there are any bilingual Spanish-speaking volunteers, we'd love to have you join our team. Thank you, Nancy, and back to you.
Thank you, Susie. So next up we have Jeannie Moore, who's going to talk about the Buddy program. Jeannie is an original Colon Cancer Alliance co-founder 15 years ago. I think we're going on 16 this year. She's also a certified patient navigator and community manager. You can find her a lot in the Blue Hope Nation on Facebook page. So Jeannie, take it away.
Thank you, Nancy. Great to be here with all of you tonight. I know I speak for everyone here at the Colon Cancer Alliance, but we are grateful for our wonderful volunteers. We know that you are the backbone of our organization. Many people survive their cancer journey and move on with their lives, trying to not talk about it or think about it again, and I understand that. Then there are others like you who want to put meaning to their suffering, who want to be the light at the end of the tunnel, who want to make the next person's journey on this cancer path just a little bit easier than what you experience. And so you become a volunteer. You are the gift that helps us help others. One easy way to volunteer is to be a buddy to a newly diagnosed patient. Being a buddy is easy peasy. Little time commitment is necessary, and you have complete control as to when you can take on a buddy. I do my best to limit these requests to no more than once a month. And because I match up by stage, I wouldn't match up a stage 2 buddy with a stage 4 patient and vice versa. I understand life gets busy, so if I ask you to be a buddy and it's just not a good time for you, simply let me know that you need to pass, and that's fine. I always ask 3 buddies at a time, so you can rest assured that at least one of them will be in touch with a newly diagnosed patient. I don't want anyone to feel any pressure. Once I make the connection, I'm out of it. No need to keep me in the loop unless you find out they need more help, like financial resources or side effect management that you didn't have experience with. Our helpline staff does an incredible job making sure they receive all the information they need, but some may slip through the cracks. Simply let me know what your buddy needs, and I'll make sure to contact them and offer my assistance. In case you didn't know, we have a wonderful new financial guide on our website. Anyone is welcome to download it. It's filled with many financial resources. Now, having said all of this, I have to let you know that our buddy requests continue to decline. I believe it's because more and more patients are finding us online through our website, our social media, our online chat room, and they find support and friendships there. That will lead me to my next slide, Nancy. If you like Facebook, so we have pages for you. An easy way to be active as a volunteer, buddy volunteer, is to post and share your story and experiences on our Blue Hope Nation Facebook page. Blue Hope Nation is a closed group and easy to join. The only people who see your posts are the members of Blue Hope Nation. You will find it to be a very caring, supportive group of survivors and caregivers who are all supporting each other along this journey. We love, love, love when our buddies participate, and I know you will not only give support, but you will also find new friends as well as information for yourself as we post all the latest news and events to help keep you up to date. Your participation on Blue Hope Nation is a big help to myself and our moderators. Speaking of moderators, I need more. So please let me know if this is something you may be interested in. It's very easy. You approve members to join, and you help keep those spammers away. The other Facebook page many of our volunteers belong to is Colontown. Many of you know the mayor, Erica Hanson-Brown. This group is a bit smaller and very focused with different neighborhoods like Lynchville, Care Partners, the clinic, etc. It is a closed group, and Erica has her own procedures in place, so there are a few more steps to join to get into these neighborhoods. But it's another great place to support patients in treatment. And lastly, our live chats. Our chat room is on our website, easy to find under the tab Get Support. It's open 24/7, but a facilitator is only there during our scheduled chats. We love when our buddies and volunteers pop in to support the newbies as your stories give them hope. Wonderful friendships develop in our chat room, especially among the buddies. Please remind your buddies if they have a question or are struggling with side effects that I am there for the newly diagnosed chat, 11:30 to 12 Eastern, Monday through Friday, and we will be able to help them in a slower environment, more one-on-one. That this is followed by our daily hour, 12 to 1 Eastern, and this is for everyone. So pop in if you can on your lunch hour, if you're on the East Coast, or coffee with us on the West Coast. Our Stage Forum live chat is on Tuesday nights, 7 to 8. It's specifically for those survivors and caregivers living with stage 4 disease, regardless if you're in treatment or NED. This group holds a special place in my heart. Some of my closest friendships over the years have developed in this chat, and I know anyone who comes will also develop close ties to these chatters. We have our My Pals Grief Chat, Managing Your Peace After Loss, every Wednesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, for those learning to live with the death of a loved one. And we have a caregiver support group every Thursday night, 7 to 8, for caregivers to have a safe place to come vent, find support, information about side effects, treatment options, etc. I am in need of more moderators for all the chats, so please let me know if this is something you are interested in doing. I heard a saying years ago that really stuck with me, and that is that for many who develop cancer or who experience some other trauma in their life, friends become strangers and strangers become friends. That it's easier to share and open up to someone who is traveling or has traveled this path than it is to talk to our own family and friends. Thank you for being that stranger who then becomes that new friend. Working with our volunteers has always been the best part of my job. I'm always available for you if you have any questions about your follow-up care, side effects, needing resources, anything at all. I'm here for you. Thanks again for coming tonight. Back to you, Nance.
Thanks, Jeannie. Kevin? It's stuck. There we go. Never mind. So now we're going to move on to Kim Newcomer. Kim is a stage 4 survivor, and she is also a part of the Colon Cancer Alliance Arizona chapter. She's going to talk about volunteering in your community and state. Take it away, Kim.
Thanks, Nancy. Hi, everyone. My name is Kim Newcomer, and I'm a stage 4 colorectal cancer survivor, volunteer, and advocate. And I wanted to speak to you today about making a difference and picking your passion. As most of us who have dealt with cancer firsthand, we often want to support others with cancer, whether you are a cancer survivor or care for someone living with cancer. You have the valuable experience that can help others. And becoming a volunteer makes an important difference in someone's life, but it also positively affects your own life. Now, I do always tell people, pick your passion, and once you've made the decision to be a volunteer, think about your interest, your strength, and area of expertise in your community. Volunteering can be as easy as asking your employer if they're involved with the Community Health Charities, which is the largest work-giving collaborative. You can run a payroll deduction campaign or a one-time gift campaign. You can also ask your employers about any employee match programs they're running. Matching gifts will elevate the capability of your donations. Companies big, small, and everything in between will match gifts, and most employers are very generous about matching gifts. Now, if your employers are not involved with any giving programs or health community charity programs, you can ask if they're interested in starting a program for their company. You can find all that information about community health charities through their website, and you can request any information on how your employers can be part of the employee giving program. Now, some other ideas that are really great for work, you can ask your employers about doing a casual Friday, where everyone can make, everyone who makes a donation can, wear jeans. Hopefully blue jeans would be great. You can host lunch and learns. You can download flyers from the Colon Cancer Alliance website to share information on the Colon Cancer Alliance. You can start an undie team and organize a raffle at your work to raise interest and funds for your local undie. And remember that local contacts can lead to great ideas. You can ask your local doctors to participate in March, Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. and ask the staff to dress in blue on March 3rd for Dress in Blue Day. You can also ask to be part of any health fairs or symposiums or 5Ks they may be holding. And find out if they have a local support group. And if none are available, ask the clinic if they're willing to start one. Every state has a Department of Health, so you can contact your local Department of Health. Here in Arizona, we partner with them to raise funds for screening and services for those dealing with colorectal cancer. And I always tell this to everyone, to write down your story. It's a very powerful tool. You can use it. You can contact newspapers and TV stations with your story. And I tell everyone, learn how to tell your story like you're on an elevator. You don't know if you have 30 seconds or 5 minutes with them, and you want to get the message out and your story out. So make sure that you practice your story, because that's really important with awareness. Now, young survivors, I always like to say, share your story to social media. There's a Young Survivors Week in June where we try to post young survivor stories, so that is a great tool. And people who are interested in lobbying, I know that people are really worried about the healthcare situation and how it affects everybody. Check out the Cancer Action Network. They have an events page where you can look up local events in your state. Here in Arizona, we do some really fun things with our chapter. We have an amazing chapter. We partner with local restaurants and do tequila tastings and restaurant fundraisers. We partner with Harley Davidson to do a chili cook-off, and we do a car show. Harley Davidson is extremely generous. They provide all of our supplies we need for the event. Some of our volunteers are very artistic, and they make art out of pallets, and they donate a portion of each sale to the Blue Hope Fund to honor a parent they've lost to colon cancer. We also work with local clinics to start support groups for colorectal cancer. We started one in Phoenix and in Tucson. We're just so lucky to have such a wonderful group of volunteers here in Arizona. They're truly amazing. The CCA Arizona chapter is just a wonderful experience. We attend local we hold local fundraisers, attend health fairs, go to local 5Ks to raise funds and awareness here in Arizona. And our chapter also participates in the Arizona Colorectal Roundtable. Now, we have found the best tool we take with us to the event is the colon cancer blue bracelet. Now, we hand these out to people and tell them if they need to be screened for colon cancer to put on the bracelet and to keep it on as a reminder to schedule their colonoscopy. And we tell them if they've had a colonoscopy to give it to a friend or family member who needs a colonoscopy. And another great idea is to give out that blue bracelet as a gift for someone when they turn 50. And then I also tell people after they have their colonoscopies to pass on the bracelet to someone they know who needs one. I know a lot of people have been asking about the local colorectal or the local Colon Cancer Alliance chapter. They want to start one in their state. My suggestion would be that if you're interested in starting a chapter, you should do the following things. First, start helping out at your local UNDI or Scope It Out, and then use your contacts, use the contacts and sponsors as a starting point to build a relationship with the local clinics and doctors in your area. You can start by attending health fairs, fundraisers, or community events, and then start fundraising efforts in your local community. You will need 5 or 6 dedicated volunteers to make your efforts a success. Now, once you've achieved all of that and you can financially support all your efforts through fundraising, and then would be a good time to approach CCA about starting a chapter. If you're looking for more information on the Colon Cancer Alliance chapter, please check out their website for more information. Thanks for your time, and remember to pick your passion and use your strengths and expertise in your community to be a volunteer superstar.
Thank you, Kim. So next we're going to, and by the way, I love the blue bracelet idea. I just think it's genius. So Thank you. I know that was born from the Arizona chapter, and it's just such a great idea. So I do love it, and thank you for keeping that tradition going. We're going to move on to Katie Matuzik, who is our Communications Senior Manager, and she's going to talk about communications. So take it away, Katie.
I'm going to start by giving just a quick shout out to Kim, who is absolutely phenomenal if you guys don't know her from Facebook or the chapter, and definitely a tough act to follow, so I will do my best, starting here with Communications 101. So I've been with the Colon Cancer Alliance for going on 7 years here, and so with our marketing communications, we've really had a chance to kind of test out and try a lot of things and see what works and maybe what doesn't work. So I'm going to go through some tips to really help you when you're kind of doing your reach out, whether it's to the media or to local companies, maybe trying to get a sponsorship, things like that. So the number one piece of advice that I can give you and can't stress enough is to really just share your story. In terms of influencers, we hear that, people really make medical decisions, partially because their doctor makes a recommendation, partially because maybe they saw something online, but really because they connected with someone who suggested, like, hey, you might want to go check that out. And so we hear over and over and again how people mentioned, symptoms to someone, or mentioned that, they hadn't been screened, and really someone sharing their story about how they were a survivor really ended up saving someone's life. So I would say share your story. Another tip would be to practice your story, like Kim said. Practice in front of a mirror, practice with a friend, really get it down to something clear and concise before you go, especially sharing it with the media. And I would say let your personality really come through. If you're naturally funny like Kevin, feel free to pull that out, say some jokes, let your humor shine through. If you're really passionate about something else, feel free to let that come through as well. Reach out to local media, local media are always looking for stories. They're always looking for especially people that they can feature here in the local area, and so they love partnering with you. And so I would say, especially if you don't get a response back from email, pick up the phone, try sending them a message on Twitter or even Facebook. Also, to know your audience. So when you're practicing your story, think about who you're going to be talking to. So, if you're giving a presentation at a school in front of a lot of kids, it's going to be very different than if you're talking to the media, or even if maybe you're talking to survivors, And then also ask questions. If you don't know, especially if you're doing a media interview, what they're going to be wanting to hear about or what their story is, make sure that you know that ahead of time and that you're prepared and ready. Again, do not get discouraged. We hear no a lot, and we'd like to say that every no is that much closer to a yes. So I would say pick up the phone. If one outlet doesn't answer, try the next one. Try the next one. Try the next one. And then I would also say that this isn't on here, but once you do find that really great partner, work with them throughout the year. March is coming up, and people love to talk about colon cancer during March, but there's definitely an opportunity throughout the year to maybe, see what they're looking for, see what else they need. And then lastly, going back to finding media, connecting on social media is actually one of the best ways to get in touch with local reporters. I actually have a great personal story where this is with our local government, but I had been trying to call about my car, and I kept getting a busy signal, and a busy signal. And finally, I found their Twitter page and sent them a message, say, hey, I'm trying to get through to talk to someone about my car. They tweeted back at me within 5 minutes and said, hey, send us your phone number, we'll give you a call. I had someone on the phone within 10 minutes, and I think it's just a great example of the power of social media. So next slide, Nancy. A few more social media tips and tricks. Definitely take advantage of multimedia. So photos and video do best on Facebook by far. I know most of you out there are probably on Facebook, and so you love seeing those funny videos or pictures and things like that. When you are thinking about how to get your message out, think about how you can be creating some of those photos. And if you're looking for inspiration, Google, other nonprofits, other healthcare nonprofits. Follow others on Facebook. That's, a lot of how I spend my job is kind of looking at what other people are doing. How are they getting their message out? How are they, trying new ideas? Is it working for them? Is it something that we should do? And so get inspired. And again, this goes back to knowing your audience. This third bullet is tailor your message for the platform. So you're not going to, use Instagram the same way that you're going to use Twitter, the same way you're going to use Facebook. Facebook generally tends to be a lot about building community, asking questions, getting people engaged, whereas Twitter tends to be a lot more focused on news, and then Instagram, much more photo-driven, obviously. To connect with other people, use hashtags. Some of the hashtags that we're going to be using for March are hashtag #CancerAwareness, hashtag #DressinBlueDay, and hashtag #ScreeningSave. So, be sure to do tagging your posts with that. And then, on here for reference is just some basic kind of terminology and things that you can do on these platforms just for reference when you get the slides afterwards. Next slide. And then obviously, if you're not following us already, I'd love to see you connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you ever need anything else, any help with social media, our department is always willing to help. Our door is always open. Send us a Facebook message. I'll be on the other end, or send me an email. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you, Katie, and thanks for keeping us in the loop there. Next, we have Jordan Nguyen, who's the manager of individual giving, and Jordan's going to talk about fundraising. Take it away, Jordan.
Thanks so much, Nancy. So Fundraising 101, I actually wish I had put a different bullet as the first one to talk about the why behind your fundraising. So, of course, a lot of you are here with us tonight because you've been impacted by colon cancer in some way. But knowing why you want to do this event in the first place. So are you trying to raise awareness? Are you honoring a loved one? Are you supporting a friend? Is it a combination? But remembering your why and writing it down is going to help keep you rooted and keep the momentum going when those long nights happen or when you're getting a lot of no's or just hitting roadblocks. So with that, the first bullet on the sheet, pick something you find enjoyable. Of course, if you're not a baker, you don't want to start a bake sale with your local church to try and gain awareness and fundraise for colon cancer. So doing something that you're good at and that you love and that you're likely not going to get bored of is super important. When you're talking to friends about trying to get engaged with your event, they're going to feed off of your enthusiasm. You definitely want to give yourself a lot of time. When I'm thinking about a sort of 5K Undue Run Walk series, a lot of folks don't realize those take months and months and months to plan. So I'm not going to steal the thunder of our special events team, but certainly keep in mind that you probably need a little bit more time than you think you do. Now, that doesn't mean that if you wake up on March 1st and you're like, oh my goodness, it's Colon Cancer Awareness Month, what can I do? I can certainly help engage you in an activity in a short amount of time, but giving yourself as much time as you can is super helpful to a successful event. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's something even I could practice a little bit more. So always reach out to people if you need something. I'm definitely a great resource for all of you. So feel free to email or call anytime. Something that we've seen grow in success is definitely online fundraising. So there may be some of you who are familiar with different platforms out there, such as a GoFundMe page, or I'm blanking on the name, where people put their entrepreneurial ideas and try to gain traction. But online fundraising is certainly an awesome tool and a great thing that you can tie into the social media efforts that Katie was mentioning. You just kind of have to find what's going to work best for your event. So offline fundraising, you're certainly going to be able to spend a lot of time with people face-to-face, which is going to help potentially for a longer impact because you'll be able to build those relationships. But online fundraising is a great way to reach people who maybe couldn't go to that offline event that you planned. Say you've had a Zumbathon with your local gym. Somebody who couldn't be there that day could still give online. So a lot of times the answer is you want to do a combination of those things. And then why people give. So the number one reason why somebody is going to donate to your cause is because you ask them to. So never forget the power of asking somebody. And then beyond that, understanding, you know, okay, they gave because I asked them, but why were they passionate about my cause? Definitely understanding the traits of your donors is going to help you sustain the event beyond the first year. Next slide, Nancy. So we have a couple of easy fundraising options through our website that I am happy to help anybody set up. One of these is a Blue Star Tribute, which is similar in function to the GoFundMe style pages, but it's completely housed on the Colon Cancer Alliance website, so your donors can be completely confident that all of the donations are coming directly back to us to support our mission. Those can be, you know, an honor or a memorial of a loved one. They can also be sort of the fundraising arm of your event. So if you're trying to collect, you know, registration fees or, again, the people who aren't able to make your event live, that's a great platform to use. A few of our speakers have mentioned Dress in Blue Day coming up March 3rd of this year. That is an awesome way to sort of create a lot of energy in your community and with your friends and family. You can set up a team and get multiple people fundraising with you. You can also do it just as a participant on your own, so whatever you're comfortable with. And then we have a great fundraising toolkit that I am happy to add to the materials that we send out if you'd like, and that'll give you even more ideas about how you can engage with us. Next slide, Nancy. So I just mentioned Dress in Blue Day. While it is slated for March 3rd, which is the first Friday of March, it's important to know that you can really do Dress in Blue Day any day that you'd like in March. So if that day doesn't work for you, don't worry. We can definitely help support any event during that entire month. So something that a lot of folks do is engage their local community to help get the word out. So something that I recommend to folks is to just bring brochures to your local, you know, community stores or all of those places that you go to on a daily basis. Maybe it's the gym, maybe it's the dry cleaners, all those places that you interact with people. You can definitely just see if they'll leave something at their front desk for you, or maybe let the local Starbucks post on their bulletin board the event that you're planning. When you get to these places, it's important to try to get to the decision maker of that establishment. So asking to speak with the manager will help you get an answer quickly and help make sure that your ask actually occurs. You're definitely going to want to talk about your story, which Katie was mentioning is incredibly important. So your connection to colon cancer is great. And if you're just trying to get involved, so say you don't actually have a loved one impacted by this disease and you're just trying to volunteer, that's still a connection to the cause, and you're going to want to highlight that for them so that they can understand why this is so important to you. Be prepared and don't get overwhelmed. So trying to hit all 35 places in one day is definitely going to potentially make you exhausted and want to look at stopping the engine. So I definitely recommend sort of spreading it out across time, which brings us back to the importance of starting early so that you don't get too overwhelmed and you can stay motivated. So next slide, Nancy. A little bit more with Dress in Blue Day. So these are just ideas about the different places you can engage, which I mentioned a moment ago. There's also clubs and activities that maybe you're involved in, or your nieces and nephews, or your friends. It's never a problem to ask anywhere and everywhere. So I feel like the sky's the limit in your local community. Definitely ask people that you're comfortable asking, but don't think that there's too many options. So, and in a small town, go door to door. If anybody ever wants to talk about door-to-door salesmanship or getting people involved, I'm happy to do that. I did that for 80 hours a week one summer, and I've got plenty of stories to share with people, so call anytime. Nancy, next slide. So Katie mentioned a little bit about how you can get your local media involved. This is a great way to reach people who maybe don't go out and about to stores on a daily basis. So certainly the newspaper, news stations. I don't think I wrote social media on here, but that, as Katie mentioned, that's an awesome way to get connected with these folks and make sure that the word is out there about your fundraiser. We've got a website specifically for Dress in Blue Day, which you'll see the link right there, dressinblueday.org. There are a lot of ideas there as well of ways that you can get involved. The last two things that I want to mention, always write a quick thank you. So the number one thing that donors love is to feel appreciated and know that you got their donation and that you're thanking them for their work, whatever it was. Maybe it wasn't a monetary donation, but it was 2 hours of setting up your event on the day of. So don't forget to thank them in person and also with a handwritten thank you note. That's super great. Last but not least, keep a list of who you spoke to and contact names for next year. So I feel like at the end of an event, we're so excited that it went so well that we don't always do all of those wrap-up activities. But if you stay sort of detail-oriented throughout and keep a record of everything, you'll be able to start the second annual event of yours off on the right foot and hopefully continue it on for years to come. So I believe that's it from me, Nancy. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Thank you very much. And last but not least, we have Joanna Anastasio, coordinator for the Run Walk series, and she's going to talk about Undie volunteers. So take it away, Joanna.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's really a pleasure to be here with all of you, and I'm really excited to talk to you all a little bit more about our Run Walk series. So like Nancy mentioned, I am the special events coordinator, and one of my, the main things I work on is actually getting event day volunteers. So what is an event day volunteer? An event day volunteer, like I believe Susie mentioned, is not a vetted volunteer, so you wouldn't fill out or you wouldn't talk to Susie at length about the opportunity because we really only need you for that one day. So we have this year, I believe, 22 races all across the country, and those are Undie Run Walks as well as the DC Scope It Out, which is coming up this March, and we're very excited about. And the Scope It Out is actually a run that we sort of inherited when we merged with our friends at Chris for Life. They had these Scope It Out Run Walk series, so we partnered with them, and now we have both, which we're very, very happy about. So, you know, at each of these events, we couldn't make them work from start to finish without volunteers. We're only able to send 2 to 3 staff members to each event, but there's, you know, so many more things that need to be done to get a run walk going. Then we have people that we're able to send, so that's where event day volunteers come into play. The second option I'm going to tell you about is the Undie Engagement Committee. So we often have people who want to be a little bit more involved. Kim she kind of touched on that over at the Arizona chapter. It's sort of a hybrid there, but in each city, we sometimes have volunteers that spend a little bit more time than your average event day volunteer helping us to plan the event. So what does that mean? Well, that means you take time every week to help us work on the event. You maybe have connections with local companies, so you'd feel comfortable asking about sponsorship. Or you know this one grocery grocery store chain really likes to donate items for run walks. And so you don't mind asking them to give us all of our race day bananas, things like that. So there are a lot of different options and ways you can get involved. Like I did say, these volunteers do spend a little more time working on the run. So oftentimes they're with us from the beginning when we start, when registration opens for events, which is usually about 6 months beforehand. So they're really there with us from day one on, and they're our boots on the ground, because really, you know your community better than we do. You know, we wish we could be everywhere, but we can't. So we need volunteers in each city helping us plan these races. The next type of volunteer I just want to touch on briefly is actually a community event volunteer. And the reason that is on this slide is because sometimes we have people in cities where there is not a race, but they really want to start a race. And someone earlier, I believe, Katie mentioned that it does take, you know, quite some time to plan a signature undie event. You know, we plan these for 12 to 18 months, and it's a long time. It's a lot of time commitment. So, you know, maybe you want to start a 5K, but you don't know if you have that amount of time to commit. So that's where a community event would come. These are events that can be planned in as little as 2 to 3 months. They're usually in honor of a loved one who's maybe going through their fight, or sometimes they're in honor of someone who has passed, but they're really a great way for someone to get their friends, their family, their community out on a nice, you know, weekend morning in a local park, or sometimes a school running track, anywhere that you can think of, to do a 5K. And these are very, very low maintenance events, which is also nice. It doesn't put a lot of pressure on you since you're going to be organizing it. You have a lot of control over the look and feel of the event. However, I am your contact, you know, at headquarters to help you make sure that your event goes smoothly. So I would look over any permits for you, any applications. I could take care of getting insurance, and then I would also, you know, fill you in on any sort of information you needed to know for event day. You know, ship you signature undie boxer shorts. And one thing I should have mentioned at my first bullet was that we do things a little different with our races. If any of you have ever been to a race, typically you get a t-shirt, right? Well, for the Undie Run Walk, we actually give each participant a set of boxer shorts, and that's kind of our fun, quirky spin, and also highlights the area, you know, affected by colon cancer. It kind of gets you smiling, gets you talking, and it's something a little bit different. Yeah, okay, I think we're ready for the next slide, Nancy. Great, thanks. So back to those run walks and the event day volunteers. We typically need 20 to 40 event day volunteers, depending on the size of the event. And the events can be anywhere from 200 to 2,000 people. We want to make it really easy for you to sign up, however, so we have a simple online form you can fill out yourself, and the link is there for you. You can also find that on our website very easily. We really, really love when student groups come to the events. They're usually so full of energy, so happy to be there, and just want to help and do anything they need. And so we are, you know, happy to give any students or anyone who needs credit for school or different programs. We're happy to do that for them. And I should also touch on some of the assignments that you can do on event day. We have volunteer jobs that range anywhere from setting up tables and chairs, like a typical event that you might think of. We also need people to go out on the course and hand out water to runners and walkers. Sometimes we need folks to cheer at the finish line, which our runners really, really love. And again, that's another place where the school groups really come in handy. And we even need someone to dress up like our mascot, which is a large blue star named Hope. So that's another really fun task. So we really try and make it a fun morning for everyone. And my last bullet point here is about employee volunteer programs. A lot of large companies really, really want their employees to get involved in local service opportunities in the community. Some of these companies include Enterprise Rental Car, Kohl's, and so forth. So if you work for a large company, check out their website. See if they promote volunteerism. Some companies even will actually provide nonprofits grants based on how many volunteers they're able to send. So one huge success we had in 2016, was finding out that Kohl's will actually give $500 grants to any organization that utilizes 5 of their volunteers for 5 hours or more. So our event day volunteers, typically we need them there for just under 5 hours, so it kind of fits in that criteria. And we were able to secure 3 grants from Kohl's last year, which was really, really exciting. So if you work for any of these larger companies, Target's another one, Starbucks I think also really promotes volunteerism. Just check out the website, talk to your manager, talk to your boss. All right, and we're ready for the next slide, Nancy. So again, here with the Undie Engagement Committee, just going to briefly touch on what I've already sort of discussed, but these are our boots on the ground, long-term planning volunteers. You would actually have a dedicated staff member whose name is Jenny Wojnar. She's our special events senior manager. She's fantastic and coordinates, weekly or monthly phone calls with the different UEC members. So she's there, and also our whole team is here to kind of guide you every step of the way. We have all kinds of positions that you can fill. We're never going to ask you to do something you're not comfortable with. So really the onus is on you, and you can do what you feel you can do. And on to the next slide, Nancy. Great. So again, I already touched a little bit on hosting a community event, but this is for those folks who don't have an Undie in their city and they want to start one. It's a nice, easy way to really get your community rallied behind you, and I would be here to walk you through every single step from finding your location, sending you your boxers, and walking you through to event day and beyond. All right, and I believe that's it from me, Nancy. But we really thank you again for spending your time with us, and we hope to see you at an Undie near you.
Well, thank you so much, Joanna. We also have Scope It Out, the 5K. I believe the only one is in D.C. It was started by Charlotte, I'm going to butcher the name, so Pena, in honor of her father. So she named the race Scope It Out to call attention to getting a colonoscopy. So this is just another one of our signature run walks that we also have. So just another reminder, if you want more information, we do have a manual that really explains all of these programs in depth and exactly what is, what the commitment is and what's involved with them. Or you can contact Susie Munoz, our bilingual patient navigator and volunteer coordinator. Our helpline's down there. And just want to thank you all for your commitment, and we couldn't do what we do without volunteers like you. So thank you very much, and have a great night. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Nancy. We did have a few questions that did come in, and we're going to try and get to those now. We envision our webinars to be electronically interactive, and we'll be taking your written questions at this time. To submit a question, go ahead and click on the small plus sign located next to the word questions on the right side of your screen. Type your question in the box there and then hit enter. We have a few minutes here to get to some of the questions, so we're going to try and get to those just as fast as we can. And if we cannot get to your question, we will follow up with you. I have a first question that I do have comes in from a gentleman in the Pittsburgh area, and let me pull the question up here. It comes from Dominic. He would like to start a small local group of volunteers in the Pittsburgh area in honor of his wife. Two things. How can he start something like that? And number two, do we have any special events in the Pittsburgh area Dominic might be able to assist in or join?
Joanna, I'm going to let you answer that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dominic, thank you for your question. We actually do have two events in the Pittsburgh area. So this April, we are having the annual Cookies for Chris event. And that is a really, really fun day that was started by actually a relative of our CEO, Michael Sapienza, many years ago. And it's in honor of his late mother, who we lost to this disease, sadly. And that is a luncheon and also a cookie swap at a country club in Pittsburgh. And it's a pretty big, I think, kind of local thing to do cookie swaps. So that always, has a great crowd. People fight over getting the best cookies, but they have a really great time there. And there's an auction, I believe, and so you can definitely get involved with that. And then we also have a Pittsburgh Undie Run, and that's coming up this fall. That date is not set yet, but I believe it is early September. And we most certainly always need volunteers for that, whether it is, the Undie Engagement Committee, so one of the longer term volunteers that kind of helps us plan a little bit more consistently, or, just getting a group together to come and volunteer on event morning. So if you have any questions about that, I'm more than happy to email you some more information and show you where to sign up.
So if Dominic wanted to meet some of the movers and shakers in the Pittsburgh area, that would be a great place to start, and then he could network from there, and then maybe grow a little small volunteer group to take on some local events. Would that be a fair assessment?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a couple of folks there who have been with us for many years, and several of them with the personal connection to Michael, our CEO, which is really nice. So it's like a family almost. So I know they're always looking to meet new people who want to help. So I think that's definitely a great idea.
Outstanding. I have Nancy, do you have anything you want to add before we go to our next question?
No, great job, Joanna, explaining it all. Thank you.
Yeah, Joanna's the place to go. She's got some great ideas. I got another question here from Camille. She'd like to know if there's any support groups in the Orange County area in California. And if not, she'd like to know how to set one up. Maybe this could be tackled by Susie and Kim. Kim, you could talk a little bit how you set up the support groups in Arizona. And Susie, maybe you might know of any support groups in Orange County?
Hi, I would suggest reaching out, going to your local oncologist office and going to their office manager and talking to them and seeing what support groups are available. And if not, ask if they would be willing to start one. I know they're always looking for people. They're sometimes short of help when it comes to support groups. And having people with the time to do them. So if you volunteer your time and bring materials with you, that does help. So I would say reach out to your local oncologist office in your area or doctors.
We also have several, on our website, we have a support and financial resource guide, which does have, different cities in there. I don't know about one specifically in San Diego, but also Googling the cancer support groups in your area is a good idea as well.
Very good. We have just about 5 more minutes here. Got another question from Audrey. And Audrey would like to know, is there an Undie Run or Scope It Out in Chicago? Her family has been impacted by Lynch, and she would eventually like to create a community event, kind of a memorial 5K for her son, who passed away this last October. Sorry for your loss, Audrey. Anybody like to take that one on for us?
Hi, this is Joanna. I can answer Audrey's question for sure. And Audrey, again, our condolences. I'm so sorry to hear of your loss. We do actually have an Undie in Chicago, and that date, I believe, is going to be May 13th, so coming up pretty soon. It should be open on our website for registration pretty soon, but we already have this event established. This is going on to our third year having it there, and it's a really nice size event, around 400 to 500 people. And we, if you'd like to get more involved in that and learn more about how you can help, again, please, email me and I'll get you started.
Very good. And Nancy, are there any specific benefits afforded to some of the volunteers in terms of, conference attendance or store discounts or free downloads?
Yeah, we do offer store discount on materials to all our volunteers. And also, if you have an event that you want to reach out and have a table, we would provide you with, materials for the table for what you need for an outreach event. So, we appreciate your time and your help, and we're here to back you up. So whatever we can do to help you get the word out, we're here. So I did give the helpline number at the end. If you have any questions, you can always call our helpline or go to our website. So thank you so much.
Very good. And two quick questions here. Remind everyone how they can reach out to become a volunteer again. What's the phone number they need to call, Nancy?
It's 877-422-2030. Or you can just go to our website, ccalliance.org, and click on Get Involved, and you'll see the volunteer page there, where you can also see our volunteer manual. So it's got a lot more in-depth information.
Very good. And we're just about out of time here, so we'll take one more. And this will be for Katie. Is there an inexpensive way to borrow the inflatable colon for a local awareness event?
Is there an inexpensive way? Great question. So I would say that it depends a little bit on when your event is. Right now during March, I'd say most of our rentals are booked, so they're other than purchasing one, there is not an inexpensive way. But of course, for our volunteers, we're always willing to work with you guys. And so I think in the past we've said before that volunteers can at least get a 50% discount, if not more. So I'd say the best thing to do is to reach out to me, and I can help get you set up and hopefully work with whatever kind of budget limitations you have.
Very good. So we're just at the part of the webinar that we're just about out of time here. I want to thank everyone for all their questions, but we're going to have to close it down for the evening. It was a great webinar. As a reminder, all of you will receive a follow-up email tomorrow about this time with this link to a very short feedback survey about this webinar. We value your opinion, and we would very much like to hear back from you. It'll only take a minute or two. Thank you in advance for your help. We have another webinar this month. We just happen to have two this month, where we'll be providing a recap of the treatment advances and research findings published in last month's American Society of Clinical Oncology, that's ASCO, Gastrointestinal Cancer Symposium in San Francisco. Registration is open now. Please visit our website at ccalliance.org and visit the news and webinar area located in the Get Information section and register now. Lastly, before we go, if you have any challenges, financial support, treatment questions, or again, if you want to find out how to become a buddy, or you just need to have some questions answered in a more one-on-one setting, you can speak directly with one of our certified patient and family support navigators by calling our helpline at 877-422-2030. And you can also visit us online for live chat at ccalliance.org. I'd like to thank everyone for attending. We sure hope you enjoyed this webinar. We'd especially like to thank Nancy, the Colon Cancer Alliance staff, and our fabulous volunteers for being with us this evening. We sincerely appreciate your efforts, expertise, and experience in helping our patient community. It was very informative. This webinar was recorded, and you will get that link tomorrow with the link to where you can find and review the recording. If you have any questions regarding the webinar, please feel free to email me at kbergerson@ccalliance.org. On behalf of the entire Colon Cancer Alliance team, I'd like to thank everyone for attending the webinar. I hope you found it informative and value added. Have a good evening and take care, everyone.